In a world where strength decides fate and destiny bends before the will of the powerful, a young boy walks a path stained with hardship and hidden potential. This is the tale of defiance, of rising against heaven itself. Previously recapped Martial God Asura Chapter 1, Chapter 2, we witnessed the humble beginnings of Chu Feng, an overlooked disciple within the Azure Dragon School, burdened by weakness yet concealing an unfathomable secret. Mocked by peers and restrained by fate, his journey has only just begun. But beneath the calm surface, something ancient stirs. A power long forgotten begins to awaken within him. As shadows gather and rivalries ignite, the line between humiliation and glory grows ever thinner. Will Chu Feng remain bound by his limits, or will he shatter them and step onto the path of a true martial god? Tonight, the legend deepens. Listen closely, for a tale of destiny begins under a sky ablaze with strange omens. On a night when the moon hung like a silver sentinel and stars spilled across the heavens, the celestial river shimmered with 9 hues that defied mortal comprehension. They danced, vibrant and unnatural, weaving through the black canvas of night. Whispers spread among the elders of the 9 provinces, divine prophecy stirred. A body born of heaven itself was about to descend. Atop the towering summit of the imperial city, a venerable elder, clad in robes of golden silk, stood with a hand behind his back. His gaze pierced the celestial spectacle, and behind him knelt tens of thousands of disciples, half-bowed in solemn obedience. Suddenly, the 9-coloured lights coalesced into jagged, radiant lightning that tore through the night like a living spirit. Its brilliance eclipsed the darkness, turning black night into blinding white. The earth trembled violently, a warning of forces beyond human reckoning. Yet when the lightning struck the land, it vanished as if swallowed by the very air. Darkness returned, and the night sky dimmed slightly, as though a precious essence had been carried away to another realm. The elder's eyes sparkled with feverish anticipation, his body trembling in silent exhilaration. He raised a hand, pointing toward the distant Azure province. "Bring all newborns from tonight to the imperial city. They may be of the divine body." His command thundered across the horizon, and a wave of imperial city experts surged forth, sworn to locate the celestial infant and present it to the court. Years passed like the blink of an eye. 5 cycles of the sun and moon came and went, leaving the memory of that fateful night etched in legend, though the deeds of the imperial court remained shrouded in secrecy. Within the borders of Azure Province, among its myriad of martial schools, the Azure Dragon School stood proud and formidable. Today marked the annual selection of disciples, a ceremony drawing crowds like a tide against the shore. Among the bustling chaos, the outer court disciples bore the brunt of every tedious task, overlooked and undervalued by both peers and strangers alike. To be an outer court disciple was a mark of weakness, a destiny of mediocrity, and thus contempt followed them like shadow. Yet one among them shone quietly with a different spirit. Chu Feng, 15 years of age, faced the world with calm defiance. His youthful face carried not only innocence but a hidden heroism, a spark that refused submission. When a noblewoman, adorned in luxurious finery, scolded him for his audacity, he met her haughty demands with steady composure. "The school closes soon. Return tomorrow," he was told. Chu Feng, unflinching, countered with a measured retort, challenging the absurdity of her arrogance amid the wild mountains. Just then, a melodious voice pierced the tension. Chu Yu appeared, draped in robes of purple, a sign of inner disciple rank, her gaze sharp and unyielding, fixed upon the noblewoman, whose confidence crumbled into pale fear. The woman fled in haste, stumbling and panicked, leaving Chu Feng with a quiet reprieve. He bowed slightly, gratitude in his smile. "Thank you, Chu Yu." "No need. Family, after all," Chu Yue replied, her tone edged with subtle reproach. Indeed, they were kin, cousins of the Chu bloodline, but destiny had carved different paths for them. Chu Yue had passed the inner disciple examination 3 years prior and now stood as a 4th-level cultivator within the spirit realm. Chu Feng's smile remained gentle, humble, and courteous, even as he spoke of adherence to the school's strict hierarchy. Chu Yue's heart ached at his restraint, knowing he still had untapped potential. Without a word, she placed a small bag in his hands, within a saint spirit grass, radiant and nearly ethereal, pulsed with immense spiritual energy. The gift, a panacea for cultivators, was precious beyond measure, a treasure she had received but never used. Chu Feng tried to refuse, but Chu Yue's insistence left no room for denial. "You are my little brother. Accept it," she said, firm yet tender. At that moment, Chu Zhen approached, a fellow inner disciple and family member. He eyed the Saint Spirit grass with calculated disdain, knowing Chu Feng had yet to condense spiritual energy, unlike himself. Chu Yue's eyes blazed as she pressed the gift into Chu Feng's hands, overriding Zhen's protests. With a light-hearted smile, Chu Feng secured the Saint Spirit grass and pledged, "I will borrow this. One day I shall return it twofold." The conversation turned toward the upcoming inner disciple examination. Chu Feng's intention to participate stirred disbelief and scorn from Chu Zhen, yet Chu Feng remained serene, undeterred. Their familial bonds, complicated by hierarchy and status, threaded the night with quiet tension. Chu Yue, exasperated, turned away, leaving Zhen to seethe in the shadows. Later, when the world outside slumbered, Chu Feng remained awake. Bathed in the soft glow of his chamber, he held the Saint Spirit grass in his palms, murmuring softly, "May this grant me strength." Spiritual energy flowed forth, drawn into his body, converging upon his dantian. There, a spectacle of raw, untamed power unfolded. A storm of 9-coloured lightning writhed within him, alive and sentient, devouring the energy like a celestial beast. Its aura was otherworldly, a force that marked Chu Feng not as ordinary, but as a destiny yet to be written. And so, under the quiet watch of night, Chu Feng's journey began, one of trials, power, and the awakening of a soul forged in the crucible of fate. In the world of martial cultivation, legends often begin in shadows, where the overlooked rise through suffering and patience. And so begins the tale of Chu Feng, a boy whose name was tied not by blood, but by circumstance. Though he bore the Chu family name, it was only through adoption by Chu Yuan, the 5th elder of that proud clan. From the very beginning, life had pushed him to the margins. Humiliation had become a daily companion, and only the protective hand of Chu Yuan spared him from being cast aside entirely. To repay that debt of grace, Chu Feng vowed silently he would become a beacon of pride, a testament to his benefactor, and carve honour from the cruel indifference of fate. 5 years passed when Chu Feng was a mere 10 years old, the prime of youthful vigour and the perfect age to forge one's destiny in martial arts. He arrived at the Dragon School. His heart brimmed with anticipation. At last, he thought, the moment to prove himself had come. Yet destiny, in its capricious way, had a surprise. Merely a month into his training, a lightning storm struck, not in the sky, but within his very body. The divine electricity pierced his dantian, fusing with his essence. At first he believed it fortune's favour. His progress soared beyond natural limits. In just 2 months he reached the 2nd level of the spirit realm, an accomplishment that should have taken years. But Chu Feng dared not reveal his gift, for the world was never kind to the extraordinary, and secrecy became his armour. Then, like a shadow crossing the sun, his ascent faltered. A strange transformation took root within him. His cultivation stalled, leaving him branded as one of the most ill-fated talents the world had seen. His body, once a vessel of potential, now seemed a prison to his aspirations. Yet, that was not the end. In his hands, he held the Saint Spirit grass, a mystical herb of rare potency, and the dantian absorbed it at a rate that defied reason. Normally, refinement would take a month, but his body, guided by unseen forces, completed half its work in mere moments. And then, as light shimmered above his palm, the remaining essence vanished, consumed by an extraordinary phenomenon. Within Chu Feng, the 9 divine lightning beasts, long wild and untamed, wove together in a dazzling dance, condensing into a luminous pill. A tidal wave of spiritual energy erupted, flooding his body with strength that defied imagination. Eyes blazing with the storm of lightning, Chu Feng whispered with trembling awe, "I have succeeded. After 5 long years, I have finally succeeded." The joy was overwhelming, and he moved through the room with newfound vigour, testing his body and savouring the thrill of power long denied. In the path of martial cultivation, the known realms were spirit, origin, profound, and heaven, each divided into 9 levels. The first level of spirit was mere body training, but the second demanded condensation of spiritual energy, a feat Chu Feng had once thought impossible. The divine lightning in his dantian had devoured every iota of energy he tried to refine. Yet perseverance and patience bore fruit. At last, the lightning tamed itself, condensing into a pill and radiating immense power that suffused his being. But mastery was never static. With a sudden surge, Chu Feng's power escalated once more. His body stiffened as the divine lightning shifted, amplifying his might several-fold. In the blink of an eye, he pierced through the third and fourth levels of the spirit realm, the explosive energy shaking every fibre of his being. With fists clenched, he marvelled at the culmination of years of struggle, a tempest of power worth every trial endured. Eyes narrowed with purpose, Chu Feng muttered, a promise born of resolve. "Chu Zhen! I will claim your saint spirit grass." The Azure Dragon School's inner disciple examination was a spectacle unmatched, a 10-day gauntlet where only the worthy could step forward. The arena was a vast underground palace, teeming with disciples like waves crashing upon rocks, numbering over 10,000. Most had reached the third level of the spirit realm, the minimum to enter the inner court. Yet among them lingered a few second-level aspirants, daring the impossible, and a rare few fourth-level prodigies waited patiently, seeking the coveted prize of martial mastery. Martial skills, the pinnacle of combative artistry, could transcend mere strength, enabling the user to strike with power beyond the limits of flesh and bone. They were treasures jealously guarded even by the wealthiest clans, and the Azure Dragon School's inner court was no exception. Here, martial skill books were ranked from 1 to 9. The Inner Disciple exam offered the first victor a rank 4 book, a prize unmatched within the inner halls. From the mass of hopefuls, one young figure drew every eye. Xianxia, a boy of mere 13, yet already a 4th-level spirit disciple. Whispers filled the crowded hall. First place will surely be his. Yet others shook their heads. Youth alone cannot claim mastery. Unknown talents lurk in every corner. Take Duan Yuchuan, once an obscure disciple, now famed for vanquishing a 4th-level inner court warrior. Fortune favours neither age nor fame alone. Silence then descended, pierced by the clear voice of authority. Upon the high platform appeared the outer court elders, 12 figures cloaked in wisdom and power, and among them one who outshone all, Suru, the legendary beauty elder. Clad in flowing crimson, her figure a harmony of strength and allure, her eyes sparkled with both grace and command. Suru had walked the path of legend herself, entering the inner court at 12, becoming a core disciple at 15, and now an elder. Her presence was a mystery, whispered across the school. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the young disciples. Suru's gaze swept the crowd, her smile both gentle and commanding. "The exam is simple," she said, voice smooth as silk. "Enter the gate behind me and exit through the gate ahead. Success will be yours." Her words hung, but a pause drew them further, a tantalizing promise. "The first to emerge shall claim a rank 4 martial skill book. Beyond this, another reward awaits, one some may deem even more precious." A hush fell, and in that quiet the stage was set. The young cultivators braced themselves. The race for glory, power, and destiny was about to begin, and in the heart of this storm, Chu Feng's journey surged onward, lightning in his eyes, vengeance and ambition guiding every step.